What's good, everybody? Welcome into a new episode of Get Defensive Sports Network's I-80 podcast. That is not the name of this show. I-80 Football Show. As always, I'm your host, Jordan. I'm here with my co-host, Dante.
What's good, y'all? Are you? Yep.
Frazzled.
Yeah.
My internet
Nah,
keeps
it's all
going
good.
out every
It's all
time I
good.
want to record. Like, Jesus. All right. We're here.
Take two.
Second time's the charm.
Yeah.
Hopefully my internet allows me to get through this, and then when I get back, I will be getting new equipment because this has never happened to me like this before, and nothing's changed. So something's going on. Anyways, traffic update as we get into the show. A quick overview. This show we're going to be talking about the college football video game NCAA 26. If you are not interested in the video game, you should still listen. But the whole show is basically going to be about the video game, except for the traffic update. We have a couple of things to talk about in the traffic update. First and foremost, the WNBA adds three teams. They add Cleveland, Philly, and Detroit. Cleveland and Detroit are returning cities. Philly is not a returning city, but it did have basketball, just not in the WNBA. Donna Staley played in that other league in Philly. Cleveland is the Cleveland Rockers. Detroit is the Detroit Shock. No one is confirming if they're going to use those nicknames in that branding, but anyone in those cities is going to be livid if they don't. And
Yeah, pretty
honestly, I
much.
think the only way they don't is if whoever owns that branding um, just won't give it up. Because I don't think it's like the NBA, because sometimes the NBA owns it, but like other leagues, I don't know, it's weird. But like I think the only way they don't use the Cleveland Rockers and the Detroit Shock is either one, if they're stupid, and two, if they don't own the branding. I think the Rockers is almost solidified because the ownership group of the Cavs is the Rock Group or Rock Foundation or something like that.
Oh,
So it would be
yeah.
crazy if they
Yeah.
don't use Rockers. Like, come on, that doesn't even make sense. But
It has
very
to.
happy for this. Cleveland's coming in 2029, 2028. Detroit
28. Yep.
2029. Philly is in 2030. What are your thoughts on the WNBA adding three teams?
Excited. Especially for Cleveland. Again, this is gonna be. It's something that's needed. I say it's definitely it's gonna be good for these cities that are trying to become thriving cities like Cleveland and Detroit. That's the most positive way I can put a spin on that. But uh, it's good. It's good for women's basketball, and it's good for college women's basketball as well.
Yep.
So more players can stay home and play in the United States, which is something I've definitely heard them um, talk about and have some positive and negative thoughts about it. So it's great. It's going to be great, and hopefully it works. These teams can stay. It's definitely going to work. There's much more, like you said, much more of an interest for women's basketball now. So
Yeah,
this should
and
be sustainable.
money's not going to be an issue because they just pay all three teams paid a $250 million expansion fee. So if you can pay that, you're not going to fold. There's good and bad, in my opinion, of some of these being tied to NBA ownership groups. The
Mm-hmm.
good is that they have the money. The bad is, are they going to invest the money? I think that comes from the CBA and that comes from leadership,
Mm-hmm.
because like if you don't make them spend the money, they won't. Like we've seen that in Atlanta, we've seen that in Connecticut, but now Connecticut is selling. So
Mm-hmm.
like maybe I don't know if that is like the league pushing that they need to sell because they don't want to spend money or whatnot. But yeah, like as long as they're, it's good because they have the money, right? We know Dan Gilbert has the money. We know the owner of the Pistons has the money. We know Josh Harris, who's the owner of the 76ers, has the money.
The
So it's
money,
like,
yeah.
but you do want that investment, and they're all talking a good game. Of course, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's great. The last piece with this is there may be more expansion later. We don't know if they're going to do stick at 18 to 2030, do a couple of years, and then come back later. My thing is because it's so far away and the runway is so long that I think they could think they're going to stay at 18, and then people could get in a year, and in a year or two they add one or two more teams because Houston really wants to come in here. And like the Valkyries didn't have 5 years. Like Philly's gonna have 4.5 years to
Yeah,
prepare, right? So no, it's five because the league starts in the summer. In the summer, basically, it's summer, so they're gonna have 5 years
they
to
have
prepare.
5 years now
And
on the
so,
clock.
what I think could happen is a year or two from now, they're like, 3 years is still enough time. We still have these cities beating down our door. We have people mad at us that Houston didn't get a bid, that we don't have teams in the South. Here's Houston and Nashville, 2029, 2030. Get to 20 by 2030, which is my goal. Like I've always wanted them to do 20 by 2030, and then I want them to sit for like 4 or 5 years. So we'll see. Even if it's 18, that's good, but there's still a lot of interest in other cities. So essentially, it's basically whenever they want to, whenever they want to add more teams, they will.
Hmm. Yeah, they should be able to. I think they're gonna, like you said, probably in a year or two, say these other cities can definitely have a team because it's their it's a demand for the product, and that's the
Yeah.
whole point. That's the whole point.
Hey, I want you to put the word on the
Business.
streets. We back up. Um, the one thing that I did see was interesting though. Like if they do say they're not going to do another expansion for a while. I saw this in an article today that there's a chance, and I don't know if this is a chance as in it's really happening or someone was just giving ideas, that Tillman Fertitta, who's the guy that owns all the stuff in Houston, he could buy the Connecticut Sun and then move them to Houston because like
Wow.
they're they're looking for a principal owner, which means top dog, right? Like a lot of times you sell and maybe you sell a part of it or whatever, but like the ownership group is trying to get out of it. And so basically someone lofted the idea that if they're not going to do another round and they really want to franchise in Houston, that he could just buy the Sun and relocate them to Houston. Um, I like I get Connecticut because of UConn, but like
Yeah.
outside of that, there's really no need for a team in Connecticut anyway. There's hella teams on the East Coast, so like that's like the only franchise in today's time that I'd be okay with them moving. It would still suck. It would still because especially because you're not getting the two more teams. I still think it would be better to add the two teams, right? Get to
Yeah.
20, but that's an idea that I saw floated today. That
I'm
I
not
don't think they were saying
totally
it's
mad at
likely,
it.
but yeah.
I'm not totally mad at it, honestly.
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, like if we had to choose, I'd prefer the team to be in Houston than Connecticut. The other thing, though, is just math wise, there's now more teams in the East than
Yeah.
the West. And they don't really do much with divisions, with conferences now. But when you add more teams, they may. Uh, if they move Connecticut to Houston, you now have 9-9 instead of 10-8. That's a simple. If you're not going to add teams, that's a simple way to even the numbers and get it, like you sort of make some people happy. So again, I don't think they were saying that it's likely or even that it's being talked about. They're basically just saying he has enough money. If he really wanted a team that bad, he could do that. So
He
we'll see.
did. Yeah.
And like I don't know if people follow hockey, but I'm pretty sure Arizona just folded their team and moved it to Houston, to Utah, Denver, somewhere. So like other like we don't get franchises moved often, but hockey
Nope.
just moved the team like
I think
a
the
year ago.
last team that
So
moved was San Diego Chargers.
no, it was oh yeah. No, Raiders. Raiders moved to Las Vegas after the Chargers moved to LA, right?
I think they might have moved around the same time.
Yeah, something like that. But also we have a baseball team moving. They're moving from Oakland. They're following the Raiders. Like Oakland's losing both of their teams to Las Vegas. So this does happen. This does happen.
That's
So we'll
right. The
see.
A's
Yeah,
are
that
leaving.
like they haven't even moved yet. Like they're still building the stadium. So like this does happen that franchises move. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The next piece of news, which is just it's a mini rant because it pissed me off. I just want these teams like ESPN and Yahoo and all these things to like do a better job of writing their the leads to their articles and actually focusing on the thing that matter. I was on my phone as I am, and I read an article and I didn't read the article because the title pissed me off. The headline was basically BYU quarterback Jake Retlaff to transfer due to admitting to premarital sex. And I'm like, damn, that sucks for him, but like everybody be having sex in college. Whatever. He just goes to a new school. Except the second sentence was after admitting to premarital sex due to a rape lawsuit. So he got sued for rape, and then BYU was like, "You be having sex?" And he was like, "Yeah, I be having sex, seemingly not consensual," which is actually the problem. Like, and if you don't
Right.
know, BYU is the Mormon school. No one in Mormonism is allowed to have sex until marriage. At BYU, all students sign a contract saying that they won't have premarital sex. So that's why he's still having to transfer. But it's just like that's not the important part. Why are you leading with that? A quarterback at a school is being
Hmm.
accused of rape.
And just leaving the school. What is the school hold no doesn't hold any responsibility either? Like what's going on here? We just get rid of them and be done with it.
Yeah, it's
Just
so weird. So, like it's just like it was just that's awful. And then the headline is just dog shit. Like the important part of the story is not that he's transferring, nor is it that he's having premarital sex. It's that he's having premarital sex that is also not consensual. Whatever. Last piece of news, which is an awkward transition, but there's nothing you can do about it. Because of the success of the college football video game, which is what we're going to talk about today, as mentioned, this is going to be our whole show. Um, EA announced that they are releasing a college basketball game. The estimated timeline for drop is 2028, which makes sense. If you remember NCAA 25, we knew about for a very long time. Um, so,
yeah, we
like,
did.
it sounds like they're going to build the game from scratch, which is
I
needed.
hope so.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
standalone game, which is also needed. And lastly, there's literally no choice, but they are going to have both men and women's programs. I think a part of this comes from the success of the college football video game, but I also think a part of it comes from like NIL and name, image, and night likeness, and not in the way that the college football game came from. I think it comes in a way of like we need more ways to pay athletes and more ways to get them exposure. So like the first one is like this happens, we want the video game. I think
You know
this
what?
is
I bet
like
you the NBA also has something. Probably said something about it because the problem they have is that, especially with the NBA, is that men's basketball isn't not entertaining, but there's no storylines. There's nothing
yep.
really with it that have these players coming into the league. So they probably did it for they're probably in their ear talking about that too because it's like we need the same thing that the women have had for the past 3 or 4 years, or like
Yep.
even a few years back, like because we have Zion and then a few years goes by and then we have Cooper. I
But in
and
between that,
you
I mean, like
know
there are people who didn't know that Anthony Edwards was the number one pick or number two pick, whatever he was. People didn't know that Anthony Edwards was good. They don't even know where he played college at. Like that's how like
I really
under
don't
the
know.
radar.
Is that okay?
Yeah, he played at Georgia. That's how under the radar
Georgia?
like
Wow. Okay.
basketball players are, and he was either the number one or number two pick. I don't remember exactly. Um, so yeah, the game's coming back 2028, so that'll be cool. It's definitely excited for that. Uh,
Just worried that it's EA doing it, but if it's has nothing to do with NBA Live, then
do they
okay.
even still make that game?
No, they haven't made it since 18, I think.
Okay,
They haven't made it since 18. So this is going to be EA's first basketball game in 10 years. It'll be 10 years when the game's supposed to drop.
hopefully that means it is a 100% built from scratch new game, and they fix some of all of the problems that we
Just
had.
start from new, copy 2K, honestly,
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
build
you
upon
literally could
that.
because it's basketball. Like, I mean,
And,
it's college. Like, we not
and,
really in your lane. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and just build upon that, make it better.
Yeah, I would also steal some people from 2K. The one hope that I
They probably
have,
do.
The one
Probably.
hope that I have is EA has not bought into microtransactions yet. There's always one game mode with microtransactions, but you can still play that game mode without it. It's the what's it called? Uh, Ultimate Team. The Ultimate Team you can do microtransactions, but you can play that. You can still play it without it. Like you don't need it. So I do hope that they could make a basketball game where you don't have to spend $100 to have a good player.
Well, if they don't do like a,
That would be cool.
if they're not gonna do what 2K has done with their online gameplay, then it shouldn't take real microtransactions because again, we can all do a dynasty online together.
Yes.
We can all do all that stuff. So if they follow the same formula like that, it'll just be Ultimate Team, which whatever you play that if
Yeah,
you want
just
to.
don't
Like,
play it. Like, yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
So I really hope that is one of my hopes for the game as well. But we will see in 2028. And if it's bad, we're going to talk shit about it. But at least I'm excited that the college basketball players, men and women, get this opportunity. And who knows, in 10 years, we may have a college baseball game again. Like this could just keep going, if it keeps going well. College baseball would probably
Mhm.
be the next one in like 2035. Like I don't think they're gonna rush to do it, but if
Yeah.
it's working, EA's not gonna
We
say
might
no
be
to a
in that
bad.
era again. Where are we doing circling back in that era where we had like a bunch of different sports titles? Like, what if we get softball?
I think baseball and softball would be the same game
Probably,
because
but
like
that's what I'm
I don't
saying.
think it'd be
Like
too
I
hard
think
to
we
do. Like maybe it's a little
because they
hard
used
because
to
the
have
rules
like
are
they used to have
different, but
mhm. They used to have like games you wouldn't expect. So I'm just thinking, like, are we gonna circle back to that era? That'd be
yeah,
hilarious.
and maybe not all of them, but I could definitely see we get to a point where we have football, basketball, baseball, and
Yeah,
the
I can see that.
baseball game including also includes soccer. Sorry, also includes
Softball.
softball.
Mm.
So, okay. Speaking of video games, we are here to talk about the college football video game that we are all excited about. I'm really excited about this game because like 25 is amazing, awesome, great. But supposedly from the people who played it, they took a lot of fan feedback. So some of the things that we wanted in the game or some of the things that were like brand new that you just have to tweak and things like that, supposedly they fixed. So supposedly this is a really good game. And here's my thing. Knock on wood, that the game is always going to be good, but it's hard to make a good game every year. So, like in 5 years, we're probably going to get a recopy of a game and we're going to be mad about it, but or whatever. But it's still so new that it's like, come on, bro, don't do that. And it seems like they didn't just give us a BS game. That supposedly we haven't played it yet, but that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. And last year, the hype was met. So many people talked good about the game, and then the game was good. So I'm going to believe that the game is going to be good until proven otherwise. Um, so I want to. There's a lot of things to talk about. We won't talk about everything because we won't don't want to be. I do want to start because this is a Big Ten podcast. We want to talk about Big Ten teams. I want to talk about rankings. I want
Okay.
to start with the rankings: top overall, top 25, top 25 offenses, top 25 defenses. We'll talk about all of them, but we'll highlight the Big Ten teams that are there, and then we can go into some gameplay and some other things like that. So I know it sucks when we list things, but we're gonna actually hold on. Can I share my screen on this one? I don't think I can. That's the other one. Oh well. Um, yeah, that was the other software that we were using. All right, so whatever.
Like
Um,
what man 26, Nick?
20 top 25 teams off rip. What the fuck?
Like
Alabama's number one.
in the game?
Yes,
Cool. So
but
cool.
like unrealistic. So one thing to note, for one, outside the fact that Alabama shouldn't be number one, there is not a single team in the 90s. There are 7 teams with 88s. Not all of them should have 88s. 7 teams with 88s. And I think they realized that last year the game was too nerfed. So, like, none of the teams are in the 90s. They're all 89 and lower, but the rankings are bad because they don't make sense. Like, Alabama's 89, number one overall. That makes absolutely no sense. Nobody thinks Alabama's coming in as the best team in the country. But then Texas A&M is 88, tied with Ohio State, Penn State, and Texas. How does that make sense? So
They are apparently they're projected to do something.
I don't believe it. They say that every year. So let's go through the top 25, and then we'll talk about the Big Ten teams that are on the list. So Alabama's one, Texas is two, Ohio State's three, Penn State's four, Notre Dame is five, Georgia six, Clemson seven, Texas A&M is eight. But two through eight all have the same ranking. Oregon is nine, LSU is 10, Miami is 11, Florida Gators are 12, and Texas Tech is 13. Um, 9 through 13 all have the same rating. They're all 86. So Alabama is 89, 2 through 8 is 88. Oregon, LSU, Miami, Florida, Texas Tech is 86. Arizona is 14 at 85. Michigan is 15. Ole Miss is 16. Oklahoma is 17. Indiana is 18. All of them are 85. SMU is 19. Tennessee
Michigan and
is 20.
Indiana got the same. Okay.
Right? Where am I? SMU is 19. Tennessee is 20. Missouri is 21. Auburn is 22. Duke is 23. All of them are
Oh.
84. And then South
Oh.
Carolina and Illinois are 24 and 25, and they are 82. I don't want to get stuck on this because this is bad, but South Carolina should be higher than a lot of these teams, but specifically Ole Miss. Whatever.
I
That's the top.
think Illinois is a better team than Michigan.
Agreed. I think South Carolina is a better team than Michigan. South Carolina is also a better team than Duke and Auburn and Missouri and Tennessee and SMU. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. But let's look briefly at the Big Ten teams that are here. Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois. There are six Big Ten teams in the top 25. Outside of the fact that we disagree with where some of the numbers are, any thoughts? Do you agree with these teams? Do you think someone else should have been in here? Where are we at with this?
Um, I I think the teams aren't too bad. It's just their placements. I can't think of
Agreed.
any. Yeah, I can't think of off the top of my head. But
Maybe you could have slid Iowa at 25.
probably somewhere in there.
Like maybe
I
like
just think
Iowa's
some.
probably better.
Yeah,
Iowa's probably better than Duke and Auburn potentially, but like I'm not gonna
but
fight over Iowa. You know what I mean?
yeah, the teams. This game. The thing is like what the game is that it's built off of it's it's off the players, all the players overalls, and then it just makes an overall of that. So
Yeah, I guess. I guess if that's how they do it, but I feel like I would look at this and be like, oh, something's wrong here. But whatever. Um, Top 25 offenses. Texas is one, Penn State's two, Ohio State's three, Arizona State is four, Clemson is five. Arizona State four is interesting. LSU is six, Alabama is seven, Notre Dame is eight, Florida's nine, Miami's 10, Indiana's 11. Indiana's going to be fun to play with. First of all,
mhm.
I think we have to say it. Last year, you could start your dynasty with Indiana. You cannot start your dynasty with Indiana this year.
What?
They're too good. I mean,
What?
technically, you can do whatever you want to do, but like, I just feel like you should never be able to start a dynasty with the top 25 team. Indiana had a cute little run. You can no longer play with Indiana.
Wow. All right.
Like, if you do it personally, fine. But if you play with Indiana in an online dynasty, you're cheating. Dog. You can't play with a top 25 team.
Wow.
Texas A&M is 12. Georgia's 13. That's interesting. Oklahoma's 14. SMU's 15. BYU is 16. Baylor 17. Texas Tech is 18. Oregon is 19. Ole Miss is 20. USC is 21. Boise is 22. Iowa State is 23. Nebraska is 24. South Carolina is 25. So there are less teams, but also different Big Ten teams in the top 25. Penn State, Ohio State are top three. And then Indiana,
USC,
Oregon,
I heard. Oregon.
USC, Iowa, and Nebraska. Sorry, nope, Nebraska. So there's,
Nebraska is
let me
right.
count. 3, 4, 5, Six. So it's six again. Six teams in the top 25 of offenses. I think offense is interesting. I think that they're probably onto some things with who some of the offenses are. Like, I'm surprised that they put Baylor in there. But Baylor's probably going to have a good offense. Same with Texas Tech. BYU is not going to have a good offense because their quarterback
Yeah,
don't be
yeah,
asking for consent. So
yeah. They can.
that's interesting. But beforehand, I could see you thinking that was a positive. USC is probably, oof, I don't know about the quarterback, but they probably have some playmakers. Iowa State. Iowa State's also interesting. Like, you can't look too hard at the video game about real life, but Iowa State did lose two really good wide receivers. Nebraska top 25. That makes sense. I like that. So, um, top 25 defenses. Alabama's number one. That's a lie.
Yeah, that makes
Straight up,
sense.
straight down. That's a
That
lie.
has to make sense why they're 89
But like,
overall.
there's no way in how they have the best defense in the country. I'm gonna let them have it, but I want to know. I need to know, like, who the hell did you rank on here? Especially because, like, I'm not high on Clemson, but Clemson at 10, 6 points lower. That Clemson's gonna have a better defense than Alabama. That's crazy, but whatever. They just did some stuff. Alabama 1, Texas 2, Ohio, Penn State 3, Georgia 4, Ohio State 5, Michigan 6. Ugh. Oregon 7, LSU 8, Texas Tech 9, Clemson 10, Notre Dame 11, A&M 12, Tennessee 13, Indiana 14. You can't play with Indiana, dog. They have a top 25 offense and defense. I'm stating it here. If I find out you're playing with Indiana and you are not an Indiana fan, cheating.
Man,
Miami is 15, Duke is 16, Oklahoma is 17, Illinois is 18, Kansas State is 19, Ole Miss is 20, Pittsburgh is 21, South Carolina is 22, Arizona State is 23, Iowa is 24. Okay. Florida's 25. This is bad because there's not enough Big Ten teams, but it's fine. Big Ten teams always have better defenses, but there is one, two, three, four Big Ten teams in the top seven. I think that's probably realistic.
Pittsburgh was
Five,
surprising here.
six. There's seven Big Ten teams in the top 25. Yeah, honestly, and I'm not gonna pretend to know a lot about Pittsburgh's roster right now,
Yeah, me
but I
neither.
think I would
But
have
it's
put
still
Pittsburgh
surprising.
on the top 25 offense before I put them on defense. Because as you all know, I'm a big fan of their quarterback. That conversation will be saved for another podcast because this is a Big Ten show. But I really like Eli Holstein, so I would have thought offense they would have been higher.
It's interesting. I didn't expect that defense one, but all right. Okay.
Michigan being at 6 is crazy, but
Yeah,
whatever.
that
We're
one.
gonna
That
pretend that
was.
they
That
didn't lose
was.
anybody.
That's
We're gonna pretend that they
interesting.
didn't. Yeah, we're gonna pretend that they didn't lose anybody.
Yeah. I don't know what they know.
Yeah,
We don't know none.
I don't know, man. So just quick. I won't do many of these, but the number 1 and 2 player in the game is Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. Jeremiah Smith is a 98. Caleb Downs is 96. Jeremiah Smith has 95 speed, 95 agility, 93 change of direction, 96 injury, and 91 awareness. He's going to be disgusting. Let's see if there's any other Big Ten players in the top. Oh, these are not all ranked. They're not numbered, but they're in order. Oh man, there's a wow. They did not put any other Big Ten players. We get Dylan Thieneman in here as well. Elijah Sherratt is a wide receiver at Indiana. He's high. Jonah Coleman, running back Washington, is high in the game. Jonah Coleman's a 93. Nicholas Singleton's a 93, running back Penn State. I'm only going to go through the 90s. This is too many. D'Angelo Pons, don't know him. He's a corner from Indiana. He's a 92. Dennis Sutton is a 92 from defensive end from Penn State. Drew Aller's a 92. Quarterback from Penn State. That's a lie, but okay, we'll let him have it.
Wow.
Gabe Lucas, outside linebacker from Illinois, is a 92. Katron Allen and Micah Hughes, who are both running backs, Penn State and Oregon. Penn State, that means both Penn State's running backs are 90s overall. Good luck playing them in the game. Indiana has a left ender at 92, Michael Kamara. I have never heard of this guy's name before. And I can't pronounce it. There's a
Oh,
Penn State offensive lineman.
qualified Vega. Wow, that's a name.
Yeah, I be trying. That's a name I'm not even gonna
Hmm.
try.
That's
Penn
a good
State
one.
left guard, and then there's a Michigan safety. 92 Rodmore is not that good. That's a lie, but whatever. He's been in college forever. AJ Harris, cornerback, Penn State is a 91. Aaron Graves, defensive tackle, Iowa is a 91. He's a dog. I do like him. Who else is in the 90s? Caleb
Caleb.
Kernan. He's a left tackle. Northwestern having a good left tackle makes sense. Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State, is a 91. So good luck playing Ohio State and Penn State because Ohio State has two 90 plus wide receivers. Penn State has two 90 plus running backs. That's going to be hell. Darius Taylor is still in college football. What? Hey, hold on. That's low key hard. I like him, but bro, what are you doing? How are you
Still in
still
college
here?
football?
How are you still
The
here?
the utter confusion. He was like, wait a minute.
Well, Darius Taylor, running back, Minnesota's a 91. Denzel Boston, wide receiver. I didn't expect there to be this many Big Ten
Yeah,
players in the
bro.
90s as
There's
I
so
keep
many
listing them.
players. What are you
I should have
doing?
done this. Now I gotta keep going.
No, you don't.
I do. I
Wait, why
do.
did they put Iowa State Big Ten?
Okay, I do have to keep. I have. Man, what? Just okay. So I'm not. I can't go any further. I can't go any further. There's too many. I didn't think
Yeah,
there
they
was gonna
have
be this
Iowa State and Big Ten conference next to it. I'm lost.
interesting. Well, they messed that up.
Yeah,
Okay, so much more than I expected. I shouldn't have done
yeah.
that.
I'm still scrolling. We still in 91, sir. We didn't even.
Yeah. Well, suppose so.
This
The
ends
top
at
100.
91.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. The top 100 players are all in the 90s.
Oh, see, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think that makes sense to me, but
There's
which
still
is funny because none of the teams are in the 90s, but then you put 100 players between 91 and 98, which means there are players outside of the top 100 who have a 90 overall. Okay, I
Yep.
guess.
It still doesn't add up when you start to add everybody else on the team that are in
Mm-mm.
70s, 60s, and shit like that.
Hey man, say man, I don't know. So those
Teams,
are the ratings.
these teams got a lot of players on them.
This is true. Those are the ratings. Those are the things. We know the teams that you cannot play with. You
Trophy
cannot play
rooms,
with a top 25 team. Okay, I don't care what nobody says. You can't do it. Any thoughts on any of the rankings, or do you want to move on?
No, that's it's fine.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. Do,
we
do Dynasty, Road to
can move
Glory, or gameplay?
on. Let's do Dynasty.
Dynasty, perfect. That works. So it's already on there. So, what is new for Dynasty? We are not going to go into all of this. There's a lot of everything. Just the things that we think are interesting or that I think are interesting, and Dante can let me know if I missed something. One thing that is very important. There's more than three outfits.
Oh, thank God.
So that's good. There's more than three outfits. We do like that. The other really big thing is that coaches are in the game and not just head coaches. I don't know how deep it goes, but at least coordinators. I know it at least goes coordinators. So like when you play with Ohio State, it's going to be Ryan Day, it's going to be Brian Hartline, it's going to be Matt Patricia. Obviously, individual coaches could say no, like Bill Belichick's not in the game. Certain, but like if they all agreed, you at least will have the coordinators of real coordinators, which also means you could make Brian Hartline your head coach if you wanted to. So there's more outfits. There are real coaches. Another thing that I think is interesting is the maximum coach level has jumped from 50 to 100. They were basically like for people like me who played the game for a week straight, you upgraded your coach pretty fast and then you could just never upgrade them again. So basically, not only is it double, they're also going to make it a little slower to upgrade your coach because they want you to have a better experience. Like again, Ryan Day didn't win a national championship until year 8. So like Ryan Day couldn't have been a 95 ranked coach or whatever, right? That long. Like you gotta work for it. So
Right.
they've increased the
Right.
maximum and they've changed how you do XP. I'm not going to break this down, but they did change coach archetypes. One of the things that I think is interesting though, and I want to know your thoughts on this, they made it they made it harder to jump archetypes. So like if you basically the one you start with is most important because as you progress, it becomes cheaper. So, for example, if you pick recruiter and you want to stay recruiter, it's cheaper to upgrade recruiter than it is to open motivator.
That makes
So, like,
sense.
I
I
don't
think
know
that
the
was always
exact
a thing, though.
numbers.
That's I think
No,
that
it
was
wasn't. I mean, it wasn't last year. I can't remember other games, but it wasn't last year.
you sure?
Specifically, yeah, I listened to a podcast from the guy who created the game. Yeah, it was not in there last year. So, like, as you go through, um, it makes it harder, and then the third one is even more expensive. So, like, basically you really work with one, you can sort of work with two. The third one's really more expensive, and it really makes you think about where you're putting your things. The ones that don't count for this are the really really big ones. Like once you can open CEO and like those and program builder, those are saved from it. But as you remember, it takes a lot to open those. But basically, you're not going to be able to fill a tree, and so then with that, they make it more. They make your coordinators more important because you can choose to have a coordinator who backs up what you do and you can get a bonus for that, or you get a coordinator who fills gaps of things that you don't have. So they made the coordinator more important. Another thing that they improved was the coach carousel, where when your coach leaves, they tell you. But not only that, you can see what job they got and what job they came from. Like I remember looking like, ooh, like who got hired, and all it said is like Dante got hired, but it didn't say where they came from. It didn't say what his position was. They just so like they added that. So now when you can go
Okay.
in there, you can see like the actual staff moves and say like this was an offensive coordinator who became a head coach. This was a I don't know if they put running backs coach in there, but this was a position coach who became an OC, whatever.
I wonder if they updated things like creating when you created when you put a team in team builder and you create it, if you can update things like stadium and stuff like that. Like if you start to become built better, you can build a better stadium and things like that.
I'm sorry. This is totally off base. This is why I have to stop looking at my phone, but I always look at my phone in case there's news. Um, where's it? Hold on, where did it go? Fever, Indiana Fever,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Fever.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie Cunningham isn't sure that players will be eager to visit Detroit and Cleveland.
Oh yeah, no, I saw
You
that.
play in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? First of all,
yeah,
no one
I
should
saw
say
that.
that. That's dumb. There's also professional sports in all those cities. You're just speaking. You're clearly just not. You're clearly just talking about things. Stop talking. But you play in Indianapolis. You. What room do you have to talk about Cleveland and Detroit?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that earlier today,
Stupid.
and I was
Just
like,
stupid.
I was just like, okay, play for you play in Indiana,
Like,
Indiana.
stop. Stop.
Just as
Okay.
boring if that's the thing you're talking about.
Yeah. And more so if you ask me, but whatever.
Oh, easily.
Um, what else is in here? So they expanded the transfer portal and they made some changes. I am not going to go through the transfer portal stuff. Um, it's way too much. But I guess what I'll say is the overarching thing of the transfer portal. There's more players. They changed the ratings. So, like for example, a player who goes in as a freshman is probably going to have a higher rating than a senior because you get them
Okay,
longer. So it's not just about skill; it's also about like length. And
right.
they
That makes
also like
sense.
tuned the system so you can't keep your roster as long. So like right now, I have Ohio State and I have like 4 5-star quarterbacks. That like they're making it so that's a little bit harder. Where like
Yeah,
players who want like if even if their deal breakers not playing time, if they're a 5-star, they're gonna want playing time. So if you have 3 5-star quarterbacks, one of them is gonna transfer. So um, there's also evolving expectations, which I don't know how this is gonna work. This is gonna be cool. Or it's gonna be really annoying, but like I guess basically like if you get like a 3-star quarterback and then he wins a Heisman, he's gonna care more about his brand. So I guess what they're doing is they're doing the thing right now where if like Kent State ever gets a good player, that player transfers. They basically tried to put that into the game where it's like, yeah,
Oh,
if you're at a lower school, the brand doesn't matter. But then if he rushes for 2,500 yards and wins a Heisman, now his brand matters. He's probably going to transfer to Ohio State. We're like that, like lower level players, even if you played really well with them, didn't really transfer. You could keep them because you got
uh,
the stats and things. So
oh,
like
they're
they put
making it
that
a
in
lot
there.
more realistic. Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
suck.
Oh, it's definitely gonna suck.
Because it's like, how
Um,
do I get better if all my
yeah.
players keep transferring?
Well, that's the problem that they have in real life. And then they
Oh
also,
well,
but if you don't like that, you can adjust the transfer portal. There are settings. So they're basically like, we might think that this is too nerfed up. So let's figure this out. The last thing that I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot of things and I don't really care about the other things. You should all look at it. Oh, I'm sorry. I have two more things. One, location based visits. So if you're Ohio State and the kid is in Ohio, his visit is going to cost $10, 10 recruiting points. If you're Ohio State and the kid is in California, it's going to cost 40. And then there's 20 and 30. So it's just realistic, right? Like if you're in Columbus and the kid is in Columbus, you don't got to pay no money for him to visit. But if you're in Columbus and the kid's in Cali, you have to pay thousands of dollars. So they're just trying to simulate that. And it's also a big thing for small, which I think this makes recruiting better and harder for smaller schools. Because like when I'm at Kent State, I'm not recruiting anyone that's not in Ohio. So like spending the 40 points really hurts your recruiting. And then basically when you're Ohio State, you can spend whatever you want to. And then the
yep,
last thing
yeah,
that I
it's gonna
wanted to
be.
say is there's now recruiting battles. You remember when you got close? And I think recruiting battles was in the old one. Like not
I
last year,
think
but
so too.
before that.
Yeah,
Basically, when you get close, if there's another team that's close, instead of them just committing, there's going to be a battle. And so basically what will happen is they'll extend. So they'll add more. You need to do more basically. Like it won't be,
that makes sense.
the meter will go further. So you have a little bit more time, but it locks everyone else out, and you're just with those two. So I thought that was cool.
That actually is gonna be
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah. Any thoughts or anything that I missed that you saw?
Um, no, I saw a player progression. You can make players better, which is gonna be cool. But it's just it's a tricky subject because then your player might legit leave because he's better and you play better with him if you're doing like those lower schools.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna
you
be
mean when you could create a 5-star and put him in Canton and you're Ohio State, and then he plays for someone else? Yeah, I remember those
Mhm.
days.
Yeah. So it's gonna make literally moving up tough. Like it's gonna make that difficult and keeping players difficult if you want to start a school that's like Kid State or something like that or Bowling Green and try to make them a premier school. It just made that much tougher.
Yeah.
It's good that it has settings so you can fix that because I think if you're gonna do something like that, you're gonna have to lower those settings and get at least to a different conference, like maybe the ACC or something like that, and then you can turn it up when you're something like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's one last thing that I did want to say. I know I said this, but whatever. There's like custom settings, of course. There's auto subs. All of that stuff is in there. One thing that I thought is interesting, right? They brought the wear and tear system, and then it basically didn't mean anything. So what they're doing this year is there is season and career health. So basically, you have a bar, and if your toughness meter determines how much of this you get, and you do have to actually manage their health through the season, because if you play them too much and it gets depleted, they're out for the year. If they get injured too many times, basically, I guess there's a career health. If they get injured too many times, then they retire. They medically retire, which is just realistic.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So like I don't know how like I don't know how good it's gonna work, but I just thought that was interesting that basically they're fixing because the wear and tear system was weird. It was like if you sit him, does he come back? when does like how long do you have to sit him? So basically, there's going to be a meter, a career meter. So for players who like really want to get in depth, you can really go through your roster and be like, we're about to play nobody. His meter is low, and when it gets down to the bottom, it doesn't replenish. He's out for the season. So like if your running back is really injured and you keep playing him, he's not going to be able to play no more.
Yeah, it was the wear and tear stuff. Also, it just I don't know if they tweaked it in that way because it happened too quickly. Like you wore down really fast.
I do agree with that. That was really tough.
Mm.
Like I was like, I like because I was like I never run the ball too much. So like I would have guys who average 15 carries a game, but would be injured. And it's like this is not a
Mm.
bell cow. He's not getting 25 carries. Like why is he injured? Week 3, he's averaged 10, 15
Yeah,
carries.
I was in Road to Glory. I was getting injured in week 2. I'm like, I'm barely getting the ball. Like they hitting that hard for real. Like,
Yeah,
damn.
they're definitely not. Like I don't know.
So I hope they tweak that at least for
Any any
both.
any any final thoughts on Dynasty?
Nah, yeah, it's just it's gonna be fun to take. I might have two different ones. It's gonna be an Alabama one, and then it's gonna be one I create.
Yeah, for sure. So the last thing that we want to talk about on here is um, Road to Glory. I haven't looked too much into Road to Glory. I will say, first of all, high school is coming back. It's not fully there, but I think you get to pick like a top 5. Um, what are some of the? They've added some things. Hold on.
No,
What's
so
a?
with high school, um, your high school selected.
So they did add archetypes for one, which is interesting. Like they've
Yeah,
added more archetypes. Oh, I've never really done team builder, but you can do team builder and add your
you
high
can do
school,
team.
which is
Yeah,
interesting.
I did team builder last year.
Actually, that's a lot. I did team builder to add my high school. I did add my high school, but I didn't do like the stadium. I just added like the color, the location, and the name. So like mine was pretty boring. So it does still start with the interview, but the
Yep.
interview doesn't determine your star status, but it does determine like your what matters to you, right? Locations, close to home, education, like that stuff. It does do that. And then you basically the goal is to build your tape. So you set a recruiting board so you can manage your top schools, which is new. And basically, so basically you pick your top schools. So if you pick Ohio State, Texas, like big schools, and then based on how you play, there's an assessed tape score, which basically shows you if you're going to get an offer from the school. Like if you're playing really bad, you're not going to get an offer from Ohio State. So how you
Right.
play does still matter.
That makes sense.
Um, and then where's the last piece that was interesting? You start with 10 and then you move down. Okay, building your tape. So I think, and let me see if I was right about this. You'll play 5. Okay, over the course of the high school schedule, you'll play 5 games, each made up of 4 key moments designed to showcase your skill set. These moments drop you into a wide variety of football scenarios and challenge you with specific drive goals, like leading a go-ahead scoring drive or flipping field position after being pinned deep. Most drives include 2 goals, a basic goal that's more achievable and a harder goal that rewards more tape score completed. Some drives may only feature a singular high stakes goal, offering a significant tape boost score if you rise to the occasion. These goals are your chance to prove you can execute in a pressure packed situation. Your performance in these moments directly shapes your tape score. Each drive is an opportunity to demonstrate your execution, decision making, and ability to rise to the moment. The more goals you complete, the better your tape, and more schools will take notice. Um, and the moment is built around themes tied to your archetype. For
Yep.
example, as a pocket passer, you might be tested against a shutdown corner one week or a blitz heavy defense the next. Across all archetypes, there are more than 700 unique moments in the game, each one crafted
Wow.
to reflect the real variety and demands of college bound talent. So they didn't do the full, you play like 8 full games or whatever it is. It sort of
Yeah.
sounds like, to me, it's like when you play in Madden and you do key moments, it's basically
Yeah,
going to be that. But you get to do it through 5 games, so you are going to get to
and they're
play.
tailor
And
made key moments.
yes,
That's pretty cool. Okay.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, it's great. Well, it's not great, but it's better than nothing. Um, Oh, interesting. After every game, you'll see updates to your star rating along with your national, state, and position rankings. These rankings rise and fall based on your performance, and if you want to finish as a 5-star prospect, near perfection is required. But the path goes both ways. Just because you start as a 5-star doesn't mean you'll stay there, and just because you
Oh.
begin as a 2-star doesn't mean you can't climb the rankings. Your final star rating has major consequences. It directly affects the strength of scholarship offers you receive, and it determines your starting attributes and abilities once you reach college. Players who finish as a 4 or 5-star recruit will also unlock the ability to select an additional mental ability before leaving high school, a final edge earned through performance and consistency. So it is very much how you play, which I think is very interesting. Um, like the high school thing really does matter. It's not. I think they just they updated it, right. It's not the same as what
Yeah.
it was, but they really put a lot into how you get your stars, who you choose, these moments. So hopefully they're fun, and hopefully with 700 moments, if even if you pick a quarterback, you don't constantly play the same moment. Like even if you always do quarterback, you should get some variety. But it definitely sounds like you should like do other things. Like it definitely sounds like you should try multiple positions, even just to
Yeah.
play high school.
And different in different archetypes
Yep.
for each position.
Oh wow, your offer tier. So hold on, let me read this whole thing very quickly. Once you receive an offer, your next goal is to improve it. Star rating, we basically the same thing. Okay, your offer tier can also change if a school signs another player at your position. Not only will the required assess tape score to keep your offer increased, but the quality of the scholarship package itself may drop. Likewise, your interactions with coaches, your performance and highlight moments, and your choices in off-field scenarios all affect how schools see you and whether they're ready to commit premium resources to you. Which means someone can steal your
Oh,
offer.
wow.
And they
That's
just mentioned,
hilarious.
yeah, and they just mentioned better scholarships, okay? So what comes with the better scholarship? Higher tier offers aren't just for bragging rights. They come with bonuses that impact your college career. Stronger starting values in your academics, brand, leadership, and training leaders, additional XP, extra skill points, and higher starting coach trust. These perks won't apply until you arrive on campus, but they can make a big difference early in your career. So basically, if you become a 5-star and you get a high offer, your player is going to develop better. Which is again what happens in real life, but they put it into
Yeah.
the game where your player, based on high school, gets certain things. You get higher coach trust, which makes it easier for you to start. You get extra skill points. You get extra XP, and also like the starting values in academics and stuff is big because if you remember, if you did it last year, you had to like pay for these things, and if it went too low, you failed classes. So it also makes it easier for you to not like fail classes and that sort of stuff. You can verbally commit,
Oh, you could
but
be a 92 overall starting in college?
interesting. I guess so. You can verbally commit,
Oh,
but you can also decommit. And then there's a senior night. At the end of your high school season, you'll get one last chance to leave it on the field. Senior night, this is your capstone moment, a final opportunity to showcase your growth, your tape, and everything you built through the season. You'll be honored on a special runout, flowers in hand, as you celebrate your final home game under the lights.
oh, that's
But
pretty
this
cool.
night isn't just symbolic, it's also your last chance to manage your top schools. Once the game wraps up, you'll need to officially announce your top three. This decision is critical. These are the three schools you'll take with you on the signing day and hats you'll see on the table when it's time to make your college choice. Choose carefully because signing day is just around the corner. And then they also have like a legit signing day. Honestly, I don't even want to talk about college. Like the high school shit was cool. Whatever happens in college happens. But yeah, like they, as far as college, they still have coach trust. They still have the weekly agenda. There's still going to be moments. They added
Season
the
and career
season in.
health. Yeah.
Yeah, they added the season in career health in this as well, so that makes sense. Um, there's NIL deals. Let's see. This year, we've expanded the system with over 35 new NIL deals, giving you a wider range of partnerships to pursue. We've also completely rebalanced NIL payouts, making deals more meaningful, more rewarding than ever before. Most notably, NIL deals can now pay out skill points. Interesting. Giving you another powerful path to progression, not beyond just on-field performance. They've updated scenarios and dilemmas. They've updated position battles. Um, Yeah. So some of this is like coach happiness is there, game day, all of that sort of stuff.
Get a new
My
set of
my
plays to
big
choose from.
question, my
Increase
real big
number of
question.
plays. Start with one play to choose during play calling and work up to two, then plays in 3, 6, 9, 15, all the way to full playbook access when you achieve max coach stress. Oh,
Oh,
so something you should have did last year?
so
Okay,
you can
that's
access
nice.
the full playbook. So when your
Yeah,
coach runs 17 running plays in a row, you can actually change it.
yeah.
Okay, that's dope. I
Audibles
can't believe
change
I
the play
missed
at the
that.
line of scrimmage. Nice. We have audibles, hot routes, adjust receiver. Okay, QB detections, defenseman. Okay, so they brought that's a nice change.
Oh,
See,
you
that's a
can
gameplay
you can
change.
make you can make defense adjustments too.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
good. That's good. There's coach
Make
happiness.
line and linebacker adjustments. No DB
Ah,
adjustments. Oh my
no,
fucking
no.
god, that's stupid. That's
So,
dumb. That's dumb. Give me the full defensive adjustments.
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
is practice actually going to matter? Coach happiness also changes based on how you perform in weekly practices. So you do have to practice. Because for
Oh,
a while,
thank God, because
I just
I
stopped
stopped
practicing.
going. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Um.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't upgrading me either. So
Yeah.
okay.
No, that makes me excited because I'm not gonna hold you. I stopped playing Road to Glory. Like it just wasn't fun anymore. Especially because like the offensive line was so bad, and the lack of like control in what plays you could pick made me
Yeah, it
mad.
was bad. It was bad.
So okay, I don't have any other thoughts on the game. I think it sounds dope. I think we did as thorough of a breakdown as we should do on this audio platform. Do you have any final thoughts? Are you excited? Have you already bought the game?
I haven't bought the game yet. Oh, there's play grading. There's a play grading system. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, gonna
So
be
if you get a
fun.
strong grade, so it's a grading system. If you get a strong grade, you can upgrade your player more quickly. Gain lose trust. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, no, I
Ooh,
haven't bought the game yet, but I just might after this.
yeah, which is why we
Yeah,
did it because this is making me feel like I need to take my PlayStation with me because I'm gonna be mad when everybody's talking about the game and I haven't played it yet. But all right, that's that's the show. I have a
yeah,
pit stop, but my pit stop is super depressing, and I'm happy, so I'm not gonna do it. We just won't have a pit stop
that's
this
fine
week.
because I ain't got one
Uh,
either.
my pit stop is Sophie Cunningham should stop talking when you play in Indianapolis. Don't talk about Cleveland, Detroit when you play in Indianapolis. Also, it's sports. You played in college. Did you want to go to Iowa? Did you want to go to like? That's just such a dumb opinion. Like that just doesn't even make any
It's
sense to
so
me.
silly because again,
Just
people, the Cavs, Browns, we have
what?
Guardians, like we have people that go.
Pistons, Lions. Lions are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Like,
Hmm.
just talking to talk.
Tigers. Yeah,
It's like,
come
I don't
on.
know. Man. I don't know. But as always, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week. As a quick reminder, next week's episode will be pre-recorded, so if there's any big news, it won't be in the episode. But as always, you can follow the show on Instagram at Get Defensive Sports Network, on YouTube at Get Defensive Sports Network, on TikTok at GD Sports Network, and we'll catch you next week.